So this is a new mimer in Maimorim Malukat that we're learning in the Chelik Gimel. This is the 54th mimer. This mimer, um, the Rebbe said, um, let me see over here. Um, why is one second? This mimer, the Rebbe said, on Tezvov Sivan. Tezvav Sivan was the day that they arrested the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. The Frierdiker Rebbe was arrested on the 15th day of Sivan. It was Parshas Bahaloischa, and it was in the year Tovshin Lamed Daled. And then later on, they published it also in honor of Tezvav Sivan. In the Maimer itself, we'll see the Rebbe points to explaining and connecting it to the arrest, to the imprisonment of the Friedrich Rebbe. They printed it again in Tovshin Memtes. They printed it, and the Maimer Rebbe said was in Tovshin Lamedalet. Okay, let's learn the Maimer inside. Psiaita Deshmaya, Yom Daled, Parshas Bahaloischa, Tovshin Lamedalet. So it quotes the Pasuk. The Pasuk says, "Behaloischa es haneres." This is talking about when Aaron, when he lights up or he elevates, he brings up the neres, talking about the lamps of the menorah. El mul pnei ha-menorah ya'iru shivas ha-neres. So towards the face of the menorah, which is uh, the middle part of the menorah, the middle lamp, uh, towards the middle lamp, Yoiru Shivas Hanedis, those the seven lamps should shine towards the Pnei HaMenorah, towards the middle lamp. So in the Pasuk, first it says Bahaloischa as Hanedis without saying how many Nedis. It doesn't say Bahaloischa as Shivas Hanedis. When you light up, you bring up the seven. It just says Nedis, Tam. And then later on it says, towards the face of the menorah, the seven naders will light. So, medayik v'ed kedushas meri chomu admur, bal hamaiser v'geula. So, my father-in-law, the Rebbe, the one who incarceration and redemption that is being celebrated, he explained b'mamore dibur hamaschil zeh in the maimer that opens up with this opening by Lois Chasanedus. So he says, "Shabbatchilo imer behaloischoas haneres neres stop." He starts off. He says just to bring up the neres. It just says plain, doesn't say number. It just says neres, the lamps. Veine maskir es misparom. He doesn't mention the number of how many neres you're bringing up. It just says behaloischoas haneres. There's no number. But then later on, the pasuk says, "Omer Ya'iru Shiva Sanedis, the seven lamps will shine." So now he says the number. So first it says, raise the Neris. Doesn't say how many. Then it says Ya'iru Shiva Sanedis. As the Rebbe will explain, it's talking about two separate areas. One is take just Neris, not a number, and then there is the number, as we'll see in a minute. But then we also need to understand it's almost there's only six lamps that are facing, there's a total of seven. So if the other lamps are facing the middle one, those are six being lit towards the face of the menorah, not seven. So why does it say Yuiru Shivas Haneris? V'gam tzarich lahavin. Also, we need to understand Masha Kosuv El Mul Pnei HaMenorah Ya'iru Shivas Haneres. To facing the menorahs, the 7 lamps will shine. Haripnei ha-menorah hu neir ha-emtzoi. The face of the menorah, which we're saying they're shining towards the Pnei menorah, that is the Neir HaMtzoi, the middle lamp. So there was the 3 on each side, and then there was the lamp in the middle. That is the face of the menorah. So so he should have said, El mul Pnei HaMenorah yeiru sheishes haneros. Facing the Pnei HaMenorah, the 6 lamps will face the Pnei HaMenorah. That's the question that the Frierdiker Rebbe asks in this Maimer, on this pasuk. The point of the explanation in this is the haneris shaleihem nemar ba'aloischa haneris. The lamps about which the pasuk says when you bring up the haneris, it doesn't say a number over there. That's one thing. Heim haneshamis. Those are the souls. Shenikroim neris. Those are the souls. The souls are called lamps. So there is no 7. When you raise souls, basically, you're raising the lamps. Lamps are neshamas. Kimoshe Kosuv. The pasuk says, Ner Havaya Nishmas Adam. That the soul of man is a lamp of Hashem. So every soul of every yid of an Adam is a lamp of Hashem. We're all lamp of Hashem. It's not 7, but all souls. So therefore, it's Neris. So therefore, that it said, look, Neris Shaleim Nemar Ya'iru. The Kamoi, why is a person called a Ner Hashem? Why is it called a lamp of Hashem? Why is the soul of a person called the lamp of Hashem? Because the soul naturally is like a lamp which draws itself towards the upwards. Every fire that you light always goes up. That represents the fact that the neshama wants to elevate and leave and go higher up. The kemoy shehaner tivoy lalis lemailo, just like a lamp's nature is to go up above, to above, vilidavik bisharshay, and to connect in its root, because fire comes from under the sun, the galgal, tachas galgal hashemesh, so the fire wants to go back up to its source. Biyisoid ha'esh hakloli shetachas galgal hayareach. That is the element of generally fire, which is underneath the galgal, the sphere, the ball of the moon. Over there is the Yisoid ha'esh, and the fire wants to go up to its source. That's why fire naturally, a lamp of fire wants to go up to its source, wants to go up to the Yisoid Shakloli, which is high up. So that's physically why fire, the Ner, wants to go up. So the likewise, Cain, Haneshama Hibeteva Harotzi. The soul is naturally wants to go up, run lalis lemailo lihikolel b'mekor chaytzva, to go up above, to be included in this source where it was carved out. Neshamas want to go up like a lamp. They're a ner Hashem. Well, if they're a ner Hashem, and naturally they want to go up, why do we need Aaron to bahaloischa haneris? Why does Aaron have to bring them up? They're already naturally the Ner, they're a Ner Hashem, They are a lamp of Hashem. The neshama wants to go up by itself. The problem is that that is not revealed by the neshamas of Biyah. The neshamas of Bri, Tzira, Siya, you don't see that openly how the neshama wants to go up, and that is what Aaron helps them. Elo, shebe neshamas the Biyah, in neshamas that are in Bri, Tzira, Siya. Teva harotzui shebohem hu behelam. That nature of wanting to go up is hidden. It's not open. You don't see it. V'avedos shel Aaron he. What is Aaron's service? Bahaloischa es haneris. He leoirer ulegalis es teva harotzui v'aliyah shelahem. Is to arouse and to reveal the natural running, yearning, and elevation that the neshama has, that nishmas adam, to reveal that ner Hashem ba'aloischa saneris, to bring about that he should want to run up ba'aloischa saneris. What does he do? Sheteva ha'aliyah shobahem. Does this natural elevation that the neshama has, that it should be openly. That is what Aaron does. Es haneres. He brings up and he makes that nature that we have of wanting to go up, he brings it openly, so it shouldn't be hidden, because in the neshamas of Biyah, that is hidden, that's not visible. So that is the first part of the pasuk, Ba'aloischa Saneris, when you raise the lamps, basically when Aaron raises Neshamas Yisrael. Then the pasuk says further, V'yo'iru Shivas Haneris. It says, towards the face of the Noida, the 7 Noidas will shine. Koi al ha'ma'oiris sheberikia hashamayim. That goes to the ma'oris that are in the firmament in the sky. The Torah says that you ma'oris, and when we go specifically, there's actually 7 ma'oris, even though there's only 2. The pasuk talks about Shnei ha'ma'oris ha'gedolim, the sun and the moon. There's 7. There's 7 luminaries, and when it says Yo'iru Shivas Haneres, that is referring to the 7 luminaries of the firmament in the sky. They will be shining, meaning they get additional strength in the Rekiya Hashemayim. When Aaron raises the neshamas, then later on, that in turn brings also Yo'iru Shiva Sanedis, that the 7 luminaries, they begin to shine as well. The world, the luminaries of the world begin to shine. So Yo'iru Shiva Sanedis Koi al HaMe'oiris Shebirkiya Shemayim. They go on the luminaries which in the Rikiya Shemayim, Ki the Isa B'medrash. So what does it have to do with the menorah, with Rikiya Shamayim? This is in the world, the creation, luminaries. This is talking about a menorah in the Beis HaMikdash. No, but it is connected, because the menorah, the Mikdash, is a microcosm. This is a miniature of the world. Whatever goes on in the world takes place in the Mishkan. When we talk about lighting up the luminaries, it is lighting up the menorah, the Shivas HaMenorahs, which correspond to the 7 luminaries. K'di'isa b'medrash, like we find in the Medrash, Shahamishkan hu shokul k'neged ha'olam, that Mishkan is equal, corresponds to the world. The kol ha'inyonim shahayu b'briyas ha'olam, all aspects that took place in creation of the world, Hoyo dugmason b'mishkan. Similarly, there is similar to them in the Mishkan. So just like we have the seven luminaries, we have in the Mishkan. V'hamenoira shahoyso b'mishkan hidugmas yihi ma'ores birkiya hashamayim. The menorah that was in the Mishkan is similar to the luminaries that were in the Birkiya Hashamayim. Created the Mishkan, created the seven luminaries, but in the menorah that corresponds to the seven luminaries in the Birkiya Hashamayim. So, why are we talking about luminaries seven? We only know about two normally. The Pasuk talks about Shnei HaMa'ires. Where does the seven come from? Umashikosu v'yiru shivas hanedes. Why does it say shivas hanedes? If this is similar to the luminaries that the Eibishter created by creation of the world, it's two. It's the Shemesh and the Yereach. So why does it say shivas hanedes? Umashikosu v'yiru shivas hanedes. Av sheba maimer yima'ires. Although in the saying when the Eibishter created and he said, "Let there be luminaries," Ksiva Yasel Kimes Shnei Hamoides. He made the two moides, not seven. Who? So the answer is Kishemesh v'Yoreach Heim Ikre Hamoides. They're the main luminaries. The sun and the moon; those are the two main ones. Avol beprotius. But when you talk about specifically, when you get into the details, Yeshnom Shiva Ma'oris, there are seven luminaries. Bezehu. So what is the meaning now of the pasuk? Baha'alotcha Haneres means now you light up the neshamas. You iru Shiva Haneres, you bring about the luminaries, lighting up the luminaries. So what is the pshat in the pasuk? So the pshat is Baha'alotcha Haneres iru Shiva Haneres. Shal yidei avedose shal Aaron lahalis es haneres, through the service of Aaron, that he brings up the neshamas of Yidden, that they should have their natural desire revealed, that desire to Hashem. Shaneshom is the biyah yeh b'marotzim lelakus begilui. So that the souls of Bri Yitzirasiyah should have that desire for godliness openly. Al Yidei Zeh, so through that avodah ya'iru shiva saneris, you bring light to the luminaries of the shiva saneris, of the seven luminaries. Shenase toisves oir b'hamayim yimoides, that there becomes additional light in the same Iris, which created the seven luminaries. And here you making a mupnei amenero yoiru, those seven luminaries, the mimer that creates them, there is a shine there. This is al derech, similar to, we find the concept that Sora hoisifa al ha'ma'oris, that Sora added to the luminaries. It says that when Sora's light she would burn from Shabbos to Shabbos, that was added to the luminaries of the lighting that already exists in the world. Sora brought down additional lighting into the world. This is an idea of Baha'alotcha Haneres that we have over there with regard to Sora. It's a similar idea that the Kohen Baha'alotcha Haneres added to the light that already exists. But while we just said that the Neres don't really have the number seven over here, but at the end of the day, these Neres are Neres of the menorah. So the Rebbe says, while we're talking about and saying that it doesn't say seven, but still we have to say the Rebbe will explain that there is 7 neiros, but the 7 neiros also the neshama has a part. Neshama is the way they separate themselves into 7. Those are 7 categories. But then there is a level of the neshama which is higher than this separation. It's higher than 7. The Rebbe will explain now what the Frierdiker Rebbe said, that the neshamas are not divided into 7. The Pasuk and Neiros, that this is a higher level within the neshama. Because technically we should still divide it into 7 because it's part of the 7 menorahs. We don't say just neiros tam. Let's look inside. Base. Since the Pashto Pasuk is talking about when you bring up the lamps are talking about the menorah lamps, the lighter koyal neiros menorah. So we're not talking about just bringing up neshamas, not in the menorah lamp, not in 7. It has to do with it. Move on. The zeh shebehaloischa es haneiros b'pnimius oinyonim koyal neshamas. So now we're saying behaloischa es haneiros means you're lighting up the neshamas, not the lights of the menorah, but the neshamas. Who ki haneiros the neshamas hemapnimius the neiros hamenorah, because the neiros of the neshamas are the inner of neiros hamenorah. You can't separate it, and therefore they're the 7. They're also the 7 neiros hamenorah, because this neiros are the inner of the neiros of the menorah. So there is lighting up the neshamas, which are the inner of the 7 lights of the menorah. The noisef l'zesh neshamas hem neiros b'chlal hem neiros hamenorah. In addition to the fact that neshamas are generally neiros, kineir havaya nishmas odom, they're an air, but they're also neiros hamenorah. They're also lamps of the menorah, because ba'loischa es haneiros, from the menorah of the 7 branches, and you're raising the 7 levels of the neshama, we have to say. The reason why in the menorah there were 7 neiros, the neshamas nachlokus l'zayim sugim. It is because the lamps of the neshamas are divided into 7 categories. So while it's being presented as the neiros, generally all neshamas, but it is still neiros of the neshamas. And the reason why in the menorah was 7 neiros, and this is the inner is the 7 nesham level of neshamas, is because it's categorized in 7 categories. So again, the question is, how come it doesn't say ba'loischa shivas haneiros? There's 6, 7 categories. According to this, so we need to understand the reason for the change in the language of the pasuk. When it talks about the lamps of the luminaries over there, it says it says the 7 lamps. But when it talks about raising the neshamas, it doesn't say 7. It just says neiros tam. What happened? It has to be also categories of 7. The Rebbe explains that the expression of the avodah of the neshama is divided into the 7 categories. Yeah?
Yeah. What?
Following?
Yes. Well.
The avodah of the neshamas is divided into 7 categories. But really there is a level of the neshama which is higher, and the elevation is even in the neiros in the level side. Let's look inside. Yuvan Zalpi Mashikosu B'Lekutei Torah will understand it based on what it says in the Lekutei Torah. Shezayin Hanedes da Menorah. In the Lekutei Torah it says the 7 lamps of the menorah, Heim Zayin Sugya B'nei Yisrael B'Avodas Hashem. Those are 7 categories of the Yidden in the service of Hashem. Different categories. Yesh Oved Ma'avo. There's somebody who serves God out of love. That's called Moshuch Kamayim. That is drawn to Hashem like water draws. That's the level of chesed. A person serves Hashem. The 7 different categories, chesed, gvura, tiferes, netzach. So there's one that serves Hashem, one category, one branch is love. Moshuch Kamayim, which is the level of chesed. V'yesh me'avo kirish pe'esh. Some have a level of love, but it's a spark, a fire. That's gevura. Kirish pe'esh, that's the level of gevura. 7 different groups. So now, these are more, the Rebbe explains, more than different just way how they serve Hashem, but it's a whole different category, it's a whole different lamp, it's a nair, it's a different lamp. V'yesh loymar, the Rebbe says, sugin elu, that the fact that these categories, even though the distinction between the different avodas is only how they serve Hashem, but still we call them a different lamp. We don't call them a different avodah. Nikroyim zayin neiris. They are called 7 lamps. It's a different lamp. The mezeh shanishama kruya neir. The neshama is a neir, and it's a 7 lamps. Mashma shem zayin suge neshamas. There are 7 categories of neshamas. It's not 7 categories of how we serve Hashem only, but it's a different category in the neshama. The ner is a different one. The neshama is a different one. So why is this a different category? It's l'chayre only the avodah. Why do we say it's a different category? It's only the avodah that changed. But if there's a different avodah, that means you're a different ner, because a person was created to serve Hashem, and if you serve Hashem in a different way, that gives you your own category of an ner. The reason is since a yid has been created in this world to serve Hashem, there is another, especially. There's another verse that says, "Ani loy nivreisi elo l'shamishes koini." That's more emphasis. I was not created but for the purpose to serve Hashem. Lochein, and therefore, hachiluk ba'ofen avedosum hashimushes koinim. The difference in the way we serve Hashem, negeya le'etzem etziusam. This touches the essence of our mitzias. So, if I have a different service of Hashem, then I'm a different entity. And also based on what I explained elsewhere, the language, precise language of our sages, creation, I was created that Yeridas HaNeshama. That is to the level of creation, which means the neshama has a higher purpose. When we say here that everybody was created for a purpose to serve Hashem, that's libresi, that's to the level of bria, creation. You read this haneshama libria. Over there, it's all the shamishes koini. But when we talk about the neshama itself, which is neshama shenasati b'toirehi, ato barasa, only later on you come down to barasa. But in the level of toirehi, l'mayla mibchinas ato barasa, higher than level of ato barasa, Kivon shehi chelik Eloka mimal mamish, since it's a part of Hashem, of godliness mamish, before Nivresi, Eino emtsoi leizi inyan achar, it's not an intermediate for something else. Gam leila inyan de l'shamishes koino. Neshama, also not for this lofty matter to serve Hashem. No, that's not why the neshama exists. Yes, in the level of bria, ato baroso, one of the bria is l'shamishes koine, but the neshama itself is not even there for the purpose of something else. The goal is in the neshama itself. So based on that, move on. Alkus the neshama is ba'oifon avedosom. Hirak benegeya, hirak b'hadarge da'asa beroso. That's only at the level of ata beroso where there is a difference in their avodah. But v'loi be'etzem mehuso, and not in the essence of the neshama. So therefore, the Rebbe asked before, why does it say stam lois chasanedes, even though there's also 6 nedes, there's 7 categories. So why just say Neiris? And the Rebbe explains now, because the elevation takes place not only in the categories, in the separate Neiris, but it also takes place in the etzem of the neshama, which is higher than his chalkas. We can say the mashakos, baloischas Neiris, Neiris stam. It said baloischas Neiris stam, not numbered. Veloy shivas Neiris. Huleram is to hint to us shahaliyah da neshamis ba'aloischas hanedesi, that there's an elevation of the neshamis when you raise the nedes. Higam behadarge de tohrehi shalamaylo mehis chalkus. It is also raised the level of tohrehi, which is higher than this dividing into the 7 nedes, and that's nedes stam. To hint to it, that's why it says ba'aloischas hanedes. We brought down, it's to bring down the natives of the neshamas to reveal them. This that was brought down before from the minor. That haloischa netis is neshamas biyah. So here we're saying, even in the level of tahira, over there we said before it's biyam biyah. The kiva shalidei. Why do you need to raise the menorah? He says shalidei ridosan lebiyah teva rotzev aliyah shalahem hu behelem. And the nature of the running and elevation is hidden. That's why you need to elevate them. That's why you need to encourage or wake up and reveal that nature of elevation. Who hascholas aliyah? What we explained there, that's the beginning. You begin with Shiva Haneres, it's taka 7 over there. The pasuk doesn't say 7. Through that elevation, the revealing in the level of Biyah, later on it takes place a greater elevation. That they go up even higher. The neshamas go up higher than Bri Yitzira, where their sources, they go up to Tahirihi. Gam k'moi shoyu koim ridosam. Gam k'moi shoyu koim ridosam. Even then they were, before the descent, they came from beyond, they go to the level of Tahirihi. And that's why it doesn't say the number, because the elevation takes place even in the source of the neshama, in the level of Tahirihi. Okay. We'll leave it over here and we'll be mamshich. Be'ezer Hashem.
Okay. Have a good day.